When I was a younger man, fresh out of med school, though no less handsome than I am now, obviously, um, I was absolutely convinced of the effectiveness of this one pickup line. I must have used it in dozens of girls on Deep Space Nine. I can't remember a single time it worked, but at the time I was positive it had nothing to do with my shortcomings on my part. You see, on my final exam, I mistook a pre-ganglionic fiber for a post-ganglionic nerve. And this story was an extremely useful opportunity to show how much I knew about medicine, and also slip in the fact that I graduated as salutatorian. Here's the thing, though. I got that answer wrong on purpose. Not that any date would care, and frankly, nor did I. On a conscious level, I was mostly preoccupied with where this date was heading towards, and I was young. But I think somewhere in all of that, a part of me wanted them to know my secret. I used to think that maybe I'd meet someone who'd understand. Maybe I was far enough away from Earth that I could computer delete recording.
Confirm. Delete entire recording?
Yes, delete it.
Recording deleted.
When I was a younger man, fresh out of med school, when Dr. Sharma first contacted me about this project, I was surprised that they'd even managed to get it off the ground, frankly. Starfleet has never been very good at Starfleet has been extremely clear on their stance regarding beings who might not be considered people, human enough to deserve rights. I guess the current attitudes regarding synthetic life forms make a mere genetic enhancement or two seem less frightening. At least I'm made of 100% organic material, right? Nothing like Starfleet's propensity for weaponizing everything in the end, even philosophical questions of personhood. No. Computer, scratch that.
Confirm. Delete entire recording?
Yes.
Recording deleted.
When Dr. Sharma first contacted me about this project, I was extremely grateful for the opportunity to be able to share some of my own personal stories about what being a genetically enhanced individual is like. I hope that the members of the Federation who hear about my life will come to see my genetically enhanced existence as a variation on a theme, rather than an entirely different category. You see, in my time working with Starfleet, I've worked with telepaths and empaths. I've met entire species for whom eidetic memory is a normal part of their biology. I've met species that look like a human-sized plate of jelly who reproduce by concentrating very hard and splitting themselves in half. I've even been in a relationship with a 300-year-old worm. These were all people with far stranger abilities than my own, and yet they still regarded as, well, they're still regarded as people. Not that I should complain. I mean, my personal existence has now been legal due to technicalities for over 20 years. About 10 years ago, I spoke at a genetics conference. It was a big step. The first genetically enhanced person actually invited to speak on the topic of genetic enhancements. I spent days preparing, not my speech. I got that one out in about under an hour. I probably could have delivered the thing with my eyes closed. I could give you a sample of it now if you'd like. I'm only joking. I wouldn't put you through all that. No, I spent those days preparing for the question and answer session. I ran through scenario after scenario in my head. I had to be informative, not too clever so that I wouldn't intimidate anybody, not so silly that they might realize I was just pretending. Everything had to be just right. I didn't get any questions on genetics. What I got was a room full of people who wanted to know what my favorite food was, whether I could taste things more intensely, whether I preferred blander flavors because of it. I had a man down at the back of the room type something on a pad and ask, "Hey, can you read this out from all the way over there?" They asked me questions about my body, whether I'd had any enhancements of my functions. I wish I'd had the presence of mind to assure that woman that yes. As a matter of fact, I am very functional indeed. It's funny how you always think of these things after the fact. I remember looking very deeply into her eyes. No, that sounds like I was weirdly into her question. I wasn't. I was just so shocked. I don't think I really knew where to look at all, so I got stuck. They were lovely eyes, though. One green, one brown. That's the thing, isn't it? I think that's why I'm finding this whole report, story, expose very difficult. I mean, I've been consciously masking that part of myself since I was 15. And even though the secret's been out for years, I'm really only here and freely speaking on the proviso that nobody considers me a threat. Speaking of, computer, author's note.
Recording.
Is this too much information? Let me know. I'd hate for this to become, inflammatory.
End author's note.
I used to resent my parents for what they did to me. They cut out so many parts of who I was, to me at least. They killed Julian Bashir, the person I was or could have been. How many people out there have had to mourn their own death? Then when I found out that what they'd done, it didn't stop there. I spent my whole life cutting away pieces of myself that I was afraid of, pieces that might make me into a threat. Have you ever had a terrible conversation where you could see yourself talking and talking and talking as if you were a spectator of your own body? Some part of you knows that you're just digging a hole for yourself deeper and deeper, but you feel powerless to stop. Or have you ever blurted something out without thinking and then spent the rest of the day berating yourself over the sheer lack of thought that was put into that sentence? I haven't gone off on a tangent, by the way. I know you're thinking I have. But listen, I've never been good with people. I love people and I love having friends, but I hate crowds. I hate big groups. It always feels like everybody got the script and attended the rehearsal except for me. Of course, I learned plenty by listening and copying, but there was always something about me that was never quite. My parents never had any social skills, and they never had my social skills enhanced. How could you enhance such a nebulous concept? I used to hate that part of myself so much. I used to loathe that constant feeling of wrongness, and everything else came so easily. But lately, I've realized that's Jules. He's still here with me. And now I've begun to question some other things. The experience of everything being too loud, too bright, too intense. My clothes, the sticky discomfort of too tight sleeves that don't seem to bother anybody else. My incessant need to ramble. I wonder if they really are a product of my enhanced sense, or if they're him. It's made it easier to think about myself in those terms. In the end, does the truth matter if it's not something I can ever really uncover? Look at me. Garrick would be proud. He's a friend of mine, by the way, with some interesting views on what constitutes truth. I think the truth is complicated. Like me, like all of us. There's really no line between where I end and my enhancements begin. It used to be easy to think of Jules and Julian as separate entities, one picking up where the other was tragically cut off. But now I think the two of us are more like a tangle or knotwork, a tapestry maybe, if I'm feeling dramatic. The Federation loves clear cut and sharply drawn lines. But I get the feeling that this project is going to disappoint them immensely. I suppose that's it from me. The poster boy for a successfully integrated augment. Sometimes I wonder what it would have been like if I'd been born in another time. One that was slower, less immediate. One where I couldn't beam down to a planet in the blink of an eye, or catalogue hundreds of the biological specifications of different alien species, or wake up and go to bed in different quadrants of the galaxy, maybe even centuries ago, before genetic enhancements were even heard of. I wonder if years ago there was a part of me that the concept that might one day become Julian Bashir, running around on a pre-warp planet somewhere. What quiet places might my soul have wandered in before we set foot in space? Computer, delete recording.
Confirm. Delete entire recording.